Woohoo, I'm coming. I'm coming. Here I come. Just got to turn that dang thing off. Hello. It's Heather Biederman for Liberty Librarian. I'm just messing around. This week I'm trying to cheer myself up with a little technology toys and that sort of thing. So there I am, Liberty Librarian, Heather Biederman. Nice to see y'all. Uh-oh, my cat Rory's coming. He wants to say hi. There he is, the official mascot of the Liberty Librarian show. You'd think he'd be wearing like a Statue of Liberty outfit or something, but no. You know, today, cat, you want to move for just a minute? He's like, ugh. At least he's not doing the little chocolate starfish right at the camera, right? I saw a funny cartoon for like he wants, what is that called, my fans, so he wants to start his own my fans account so he can show his butt. So there he comes again. So yes, he wants to be internet famous and he will do anything it takes, including showing his butt. So how you guys all been? What I was gonna say before I got accosted by cats is that I'm back to school. It's back to school time for everyone, right? My college has started up this week, so I am doing a really weird adjusted schedule, and I work on Thursdays. Although I did go in on Tuesday to help get everything started. We're doing like photo IDs and getting everyone back to getting their library cards, and it's crazy pants in the library. But we're getting it to work, and I have student workers that came in today, so it is quite lovely, and I had a really good first full day, and I got done and I ran home, and now I'm doing this. So in my Cato Brewery glass, I'm going to have a celebratory beer. This is Waconia Brewing Company from Waconia, Minnesota, right? And it's raspberry blonde. So we're going to have a little raspberry goodness to celebrate my first day of back to school. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it's pretty. Look at that. Nice strawberry blonde. It's raspberry blonde, but you know what I mean. Let's see. Smells like raspberries. Oh, that's good. Nom. Waconia Brewing. I have had really good luck with their beers. And so if you're a Minnesota person, you can get that pretty easy. Oh, I'm clicking over to comments. Oh, Charsty! Hello! My high school friend from Mason City. And Kara Schultz, my bestie. Hello there, lovely. How y'all doing? Giraffe cat. Yes. I was messing around, Kara. I was playing with like Canva today, and I made an outro for my Liberty Librarian show, but I didn't get around to putting music to the intro, so I just put up my YouTube cover art. Oh my God! Look at all the people. Hello! It's so nice to see you. Welcome. Oh, so today, what I would like to talk about is something that's been on my mind and everyone's mind, really, is that we are feeling like we're on the brink of revolution. And is that what's coming? Is it what we're ready for? Is it what we want? Is it what we can't stop but is going to happen anyway? Maybe. I looked at a few things today. Ooh, exciting. Oh, I know. Exciting probably not as about the revolution part, because that is the kind of excitement I don't really like, but might be necessary. It's exciting to kind of make things a little bit better. One of the things I was listening to on the radio this morning going to work, before we go talk about revolution, I always like unload for my day and that sort of thing, and you guys can go along with me on my journey. I was listening to radio about, how they do the little blurb things, fun things in the news, uprising versus revolution. Good point, Kara. Right now, it's uprising. Are we going to revolution, though? Uprisings are little. They're bubbles of unrest. And usually, what governments try to do is to squash uprisings because they don't want revolution. They don't want to lose control or lose power. And sometimes revolution can be a great, it's sort of like when you have too much growth and things are growing in the wrong direction. It's like the fire that brings down plants and makes the roots stronger so it can grow up into something new and better. Or will it make something worse where it's stronger, but it could be a dictatorship, or it could be something out of hand in a bad way. I mean, this is something to think about when you're planning a revolution. Is what is your outcome? What do you really want to have happen? And a lot of revolutions are like, let's just burn the motherfuckers down. You know, like, doesn't that feel good to say? I was watching Fight Club the other day, and you watch Letterkenny. That's a fun show. But I watched the ending where, spoiler alert, where they burn, like, all the buildings blow up and they come down. And there's something about that where you just, at the end of that movie, you're just like, woo, revved up. Like, burn it down, start over. But as I get older, it happens. I start to think, do we really want to burn it all down? Because starting over is a lot of work. Can we work from within with what we have to fix it? Maybe. By the way, as an aside, as an older person, Fight Club is not something that you should idealize. You know, I know a lot of people have it in the back of their heads like, that's what I want. Travis, you know, like, I want, what's his name? Was it Travis? I keep thinking, all I can see is Brad Pitt and his shiny sweatiness, and it was lovely. Is he was the imagination of the main character who thought he wasn't good enough and felt put upon by society. Oh, hi, Andy. Andy's home. So, you know, is it good to worship people who are actually supposed to be villains? You know, and sometimes the villains say things that are quite good and useful and actually aren't the worst. I think of things in Black Panther where the bad guy actually said things that made a lot of sense. So sometimes the best bad guys have grains of truth to them. It's just, how do you get to what you want? Do you burn down the motherfucker, or do you try to work with people? It's slower. It's not as much fun. Is it something that young people can't get behind? Is seeing something that takes your whole life to grow and build? This is sort of like a farming mentality, but sometimes it takes decades to make the soil fertile and to work with it and to find what works there. You know, you're trying to grow the wrong things, it may never work. If you are trying to cultivate it and make it so you can have beautiful plants in generations. Like, I think about olives and some of these fruit trees where you just have to wait it out. Or like asparagus, where you might get 6 years and then maybe you start getting it. Most people aren't patient enough to go, I don't want to wait 6 years for something. I don't want to wait a lifetime for something. But sometimes you won't see the big change until you have put time into it, and you put your own love and thought into it. And what is the perfect society? And I look at the libertarian principles as something I base this on, is like with non-aggression principle. And what a lot of people say is that they are being aggressive by, taking taxes from us, by shooting people in the back, by taking away property, and it happens. It's happening all the time. So this is the justification. Um, is it the right justification though, to the extent? And that's why I am a very peaceful person, and I do not condone the taking of lives of other people. But I do know that if somebody was breaking into my home and killing my family, I would not stand idly by. At what point is it that they're killing your people that you need to stand up and have a, an uprising, or even to the point of a revolution? And I do think that the things that are going on right now, like Kara said, is an uprising. But it has the percolations, the seeds of revolution. And I think that there are a lot of people who are very nervous about it. And one of the articles I'd read lately about the what was it called? The revolution will not be televised in this day and age. It won't be on your network TV. They don't show it. I know from our own George Floyd stuff that went on that we only saw a kind of cleaned up view of what was actually happening. We saw people in the media being put in safe places and way behind with police protection even. We didn't see groups like the Unicorn Riot and the guerrilla media that's out there with their cameras and filming what's actually happening. For that, you go on social media and you look for it. And a lot of times you do a Facebook search, it's not showing up in your feed. It shows up in your friends list and they show you links. So they want to squash our feelings of revolution. They want to squash our feelings of uprising. They want to show extremism. They want to show that fighting back in any way, even with peaceful protest, is a negative thing that you shouldn't be doing. Good people should be home wearing their masks. Good people should be home, like watching the news and being safe. You're a good person, aren't you? That's not fair. That's not fair to tell people that they can't protest something that is happening in their own communities. Now, do I agree with looting? Do I agree with burning down businesses of people that are there? No, I would never do that. Do I understand why it happens? Yes. There is so much tension in our world right now. Someone just killed people and then they killed themselves and they were filmed. And it was horrific. Someone was shot in the back. Someone was every day. It's almost like you're like, oh, wouldn't the police by this point be like, please, let's just not shoot people. Every time we're going to lose millions of dollars and have riots. But there is a part of me that thinks in the back of my mind that the more there are riots, the more there's unrest and uprising and revolution. It's an excuse. It's an excuse for them to get more money, to pay for more guns, to pay for more technology to watch us, because then they can see where you are on your phones. They can tell, where you are, what you're saying, what you're doing, because it's for our own protection. Because, when we have to shoot someone, then there's going to be an uprising. So we need to be ready for it. It seems very convenient that it happens that way. And a lot of communities back that, because who wants to have their business burned down? Who wants to have their home broken into and looted? No one does. Everyone likes to feel safe. However, the reaction to violence shouldn't be more violence. It should be, let's talk to people in the community. Let's work with the communities to figure out how to stop this violence that is ongoing and growing. Are we encouraging people who have violent tendencies to become policemen? I mean, really, we should think about the profiles, the psychological profiles of the people that are supposed to be protecting us. I mean, I have police in my family. My grandfather was a deputy sheriff, and he would never have thought to pull his gun on people. He was always about talking and trying to work out problems. And sometimes it would happen that, there would be a violent outcome, but it was always to try to understand the person and work with them and realizing that the things that they're going through, there was empathy that needed to happen because we're all human. And most people, they go on a certain path and you can see an outcome. Now, targeting people of color. This is a new society thing that that we pretend that we're so much better than we used to be. It's still happening. How is this? My poor cat, I can hear him meowing in the distance. I'm sorry, it's so distracting. As an aside, I get home when I'm gone all day and he cries because if I'm in the wrong room. So I'm in the wrong room, obviously. I'm sorry. This is like half cat show. I'm going to drink a minute. It's just nuts. Okay, back to my ranting, right? Historically, they have said that there are certain things. Oh man, hi Shannon. Yes, I'm sorry you have to leave us. I'm gonna like swing it around to history a little bit. So come join us again later. I know a lot of people watch it when they have time, and I know I have a lot of I have a lot of shows and podcasts. That's one of the good things about pandemic. Actually, is people who never had shows before do have shows, and I have so many to watch because I'm stuck at home. And meanwhile, everyone's stuck at home, right? Back to what I was talking about. You are in this oppressive state. Oppression is happening every day. Now, let's say you're a person of color who has to work on the front lines in a job, and you have to watch people who don't have to come to work. They can work at home. They're protected, and they have money, and they can not have to worry about losing their job and not worry about if they get sick. What are they going to do if they have to social distance and stay at home? Well, they won't get fired, but you will. This is what people go through every single day. They're stressed out. People everywhere are losing their jobs. And if they aren't now, they probably will be soon. And this is nothing to take lightly. Our whole society is getting upended. Now, add on to that they're expected to take care of us, to bring food to us, to and us is the people who are safe. And I think of myself as a quote unquote safe person, even though now I'm working front lines. I've had most of the summer to not have to go into work. That's not fair to other people. I know this. And it is a privilege that not everyone can have. But a lot of people who are privileged are sitting there going, well, they should just suck it up. Why are they so mad? It's not right. It isn't right. And at the very least, you should show respect for people who are out there making your life safer and better. Show some freaking respect. That's the least. And the problem is it hasn't changed anyone's viewpoint. It hasn't. And the police are still shooting people of color in the back. And if it would just stop, then I would go, oh, things are made, they seem like they're better. But in 1 year, it seems like every weekend it's something else and there's more riots. And then there's something else and then there's more riots. Is it going to get to the point where the riot just doesn't stop? And that's where revolution comes in. Now, historically, one of the things I was reading about earlier this week was that the misconception is that revolution comes from poverty. Usually, it actually comes from times where there's prosperity. However, there's uneven prosperity. I would say we are in one of those times. Prosperity for the very rich is extreme. They're not really hurt by this. They may not get a huge percentage of money coming in, but they're not hurt. And I work in education, and everyone's freaked out because they think, oh, no one's going to be at school. And right now, they're probably not going to be in school for a little while. But once everybody starts losing their jobs, people are going to start going to school because they're not going to have any options. And people want their lives to move forward. You don't want to move backwards. You don't want to stay the same, especially if it's shitty. You want to keep going. So there's this feeling, and I have it too. Don't you? It's this feeling in my gut that things are gonna be hopeless. And I've been working on it not being hopeless, because depression is a sucky thing. And I'll tell anybody who will listen, I have depression. I seem like a super happy person, and I'm funny, and I cover it up really good. And I think of people like Robin Williams, who we found out later he had some degenerative disease. So he was fighting multiple things. Can you imagine going through this and having cancer, going through this and losing your job, going through this and just becoming depressed? We're having people kill themselves. So it's like we're sitting on a powder keg right now of emotion and tension and anxiety. I've had people just today even yelling at me. I love you too, Kara. I've had people that never have yelled at me before and send me nasty things. And I said, I have no patience for that kind of shit right now. I don't think anybody should. But I'm also not going to be mean about it. Because right now, we're all going through it. You're going through it, I'm going through it. And it is intense. It's a horrible thing that we're all going through. And I feel like I go to work and I talk to people and go, it's weird wearing masks. It's weird. And we're all like, we're hoping it ends soon. But there's something to be said in the way we say it is like, maybe it'll never end. And that is what's going to make the revolution. The revolution, everyone is like, oh, it's Black Lives Matter. It's all going to be about that. I doubt it. I think it's a part of it, but it's not all of it. I think it's the dissatisfaction of losing all control in our lives to a government that doesn't care if we have freedom or happiness or any joy. They take away your music, they take away your art. What's left? They've taken everything from your heart. So what is the alternative? I mean, really, there will be some sort of revolution. But why not have it be a revolution of the mind and a revolution of the heart? If communities could come together and work with their own local governments, you can start. I just thought of it like it's a mold or something. We can rot this horrible system that's breaking us apart from the inside out. You start working with your little communities. Say, we need to have music. We need to have fireworks. We need to have joy. Let's work on making that a priority. Because if you start bringing happiness and joy to communities, it's going to take hold. And this gets to be every community, everywhere. And we need to work with other communities that we don't see all the time. You need to get neighboring communities and people you don't hardly talk to. And we need to include each other in this. And that's why I've always felt things like music and festivals and like our Renaissance festival that was canceled is so important because it brings people from all over and we'll have common thread. And we may have disagreements on political views and where you come from and like what you look like. But without these kind of events, we lose grasp on what is special about being human in our society. And I think it's why things are falling apart so hard. And really, like it's only been since pretty much like the end of February, early March. It's not even a whole year that this has happened. But doesn't it feel like a lifetime? We need to start making good things. And I mean, and I think about this, Kara is listening too, and we talk about good things every week. And until I do that every week, I don't feel right. And I think that there's something to be said for people coming together, having a group of people talking. It doesn't feel the same on the internet, right? I know you're listening to me right now, but it's not the same as sitting in a room and talking to people. You need to find a way where you'll feel comfortable and you talk to people. And you need to talk about what's going on. You need to talk about how things are falling apart and how we can fix it. Because all of us together will have the solution. Not one person, not me. I'm not smart enough to know how to fix it all. But if we work together, we can bring beauty and joy and love back into the world. It might take a while. And it might be like a garden where you have to cultivate it and grow it. But if you don't start now, all we're going to have left is it's going to burn down. And you're going to get what someone else wanted to grow back because you're going to get opportunists jumping into a situation. You know, you look at what was it in Seattle where they took over and then they'd have like a drug lord shows up with his porn star girlfriend and guns and rape squads. And like, we don't need it to be a dystopian nightmare. We want it to be utopia, right? So how do we make that happen without having to burn it all down? We're going to have to burn some of it down. I get you. But I've always had this, like, I don't know, it's not even a hope. You know, it's a mental thing from reading so much sci-fi in my life that I always had to be a little bit of a prepper to like what would happen. What would I do if society fell apart? And I never, you know, part of me wanted to be ready so much. And like, so that way I'd be like, see, I knew it. I was ready. Things happened. I survived. I'm a survivor. I don't want it to happen. I like having a glass of wine and eating delicious food at a restaurant. I like visiting with friends. I like having an internet so I can watch movies whenever I want. It could all go away. I don't want that. What's good about the world? You know, what can we keep? Let's try to keep that. Keep music, keep writing and beauty and art and romance and love and not oppression and treating people like they are nothing. We can't go down that road anymore. I found a whole bunch of articles and like I feel like since this week has been kind of crazy pants, I don't feel as prepared as I'd like to be to share articles with you, but I have a couple I might just share in the comments later. I saw a comment. Dave Johnson. Our small church get-togethers and now bowling league have helped keep you stay positive. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You find groups and you need to have human connection. It's so important. And I think after July, things started to open up. End of June, things started opening up and I started getting to see more people and do a few more things, and it made a huge difference. I feel so much lighter, and it's been really good. Ferguson, yes, no, I mean, like, it's not new. It's not going to go away either, because it's it's been here, and we haven't dealt with it. We haven't, as a society, really figured out that our priority isn't killing people, isn't security at any cost, which has been a value of our whole country. I mean, we wouldn't have a TSA if it wasn't our value right now, is that we're willing to give up freedoms everywhere, be it for our children by watching them in schools with surveillance, tracking people with their cell phones, doing TSA body searches, and little extra something there. And it's constant. And the way they take away freedom is little bits, little bit more, and go, oh, it's a temporary thing. I'll tell you, there's no temporary things. Once they take away your freedom, it's not coming back easily. Don't let them take things away. Not now. And God, you hear so many conspiracy theories about this year, and I have some things in the news too that made me think about the fact that, some of these rights that we see going away are slipping away slowly, and some are going to go really quickly. We need to be very careful. It's a very dangerous time to be losing rights. Sometimes I wonder if it was by design that, if they wanted to start a dictatorship of some sort, that they would start a pandemic. Pandemic would break everything apart, and then encourage people to lock down for years. And after a few years, then they would feel like they could accept anything. And even getting tiny little grains of freedom would make them feel good. Whereas before, you go, this is bullshit. Why do I have to wear a mask everywhere? Why do I have to have a curfew? Like, they just had a curfew in Minneapolis. There was riots downtown again. And sometimes you want to talk to people and go, I know why you're rioting. I know I'm angry and frustrated. But sometimes I think this is what they want. They want you to do it so that way they can take away more rights later. And I don't know how to fix that without having people come together in their own communities. What was interesting to me, this is a really weird aside. I know I've talked about this before, is I look at communities like Detroit, where they had police wouldn't even come to some of the neighborhoods because, like, somebody have their house broken into or they're getting robbed, and they call the cops, and they'd come like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 4 hours later, and it was too late. What they did there was they kind of made their own militia. I don't know if that's what you'd call it. It was like a private police force, security company. I think that's what they would call it. And communities would band together and pay people to take care of things because nobody was coming. And I don't know, maybe this is the libertarian side of it, is that maybe we need to restructure how we do government so it actually protects the people that live in the communities. One of the things I've said before about police brutality was that part of the problem is the people who are protecting the communities don't live in the communities. You're far less likely to shoot someone in the back if you know them. Or you feel like, that's someone like me. They live in my neighborhood. Why would I shoot them? You'd try to talk to them first. So this is one of the things I said again and again. What? God, that cat. He's just nuts. So, revolution, will it happen? Or is it already happening? I mean, a lot of it feels like it. You won't know it. They will say later, that was the revolution. You go, that's what that was. But At this point, you're not seeing government officials dragged out and shot. And usually when they do that, it's because there's another government that's already lining up to do it. So don't be excited about that, because that usually means there's someone else that's gunning for that. I've seen it happen enough in other countries that, you can't be too excited about it yet. The people who really have the power are usually corporations anyway. They have all the money. So they pay the governments to keep things as status quo. It's not in the rich people in our country's best interest to have a revolution. Will it ever turn around and be fair? I don't want communism. I don't see that all of it's bad, but usually when you have everybody get equal things, it's not all high quality. So what's fair and what's not? Part of me wonders if our $1,200 that they gave people to just kind of suck it up is to prepare us for like getting like a universal wage. But then they own you. They own you. I wonder if they ever did that, if they would close borders and make it so people couldn't leave at all. Because they own you. And you're like, we pay you to live. You don't even have to work. Or you work at where we tell you to work. I think that would be a bad way to go. Doesn't you think? Right, yeah. I'm gonna have a sip of beer. My cat's staring at me. I don't think there's an easy solution today. What do you think? Do you think there's a solution? I don't. I agonize over it, how sad people are and how angry and upset. But I do think, like we said, build from small chunks and build up. At least if everything falls apart, let me say, the silver lining in that is if you have good, strong community, you have people that love each other, that will work and try to help each other out. If things do fall apart, you'll have a built-in micro society where people who have food can help each other, that they have skills, they can help build houses, they can nurse wounds, they can teach children, they can do everything. So start looking at your communities like you're making your own little mini utopia. Like, what would you change in your community that would make it perfect? Start there. Why not? Why not like make it a little bit better? Okay, so that's all. I'm going to leave that thought because there are so many things I still have to talk about for news. I only have 4 pieces of news today, so I'm going to put them in order. Okay, first one. Pew. They survey people, right? Pew, not like pew, pew, pew. Haha. 73% of Americans believe social media platforms censor political speech. The elections are coming up. I have a lot of friends who are running for office. I have a lot of friends who are door knocking right now. But 73% of the Americans that they polled, which is a good cross section, think social media platforms censor political speech. They do. I've seen a lot of censorship going on. I see a lot of things that pop up where they call it fake news, which automatically makes me angry. I'm a big believer in people thinking for themselves and not letting something that you see or read go into your head without you thinking, is this true? If it seems funny, you should question it. And there's so many people that don't question anything they read. They see it, especially from a trusted news source, that they're like, oh, that must be true. Think about that. Why do they believe that? Why do they believe it is? Because a lot of groups, we have groups and pages of political groups on Facebook. And there's some that are very censored and some that are less censored. And let you guess, a lot of the third parties, independents, they're often censored because they are not, I think for multiple reasons. They're not the populist. opinions. And also, I believe that with big money that goes into um, Facebook, if you pay them lots of money to leave you alone, they tend to leave you alone. But smaller groups have less money to do that, and not the clout that the big groups are. So it's true. Um, a belief that social media companies practice censorship jumps to 9 in 10 Republicans believe that, while only 19% of Democrats believe this to be very likely, and 40% believe it to be somewhat likely. So, yes, if you have conservative viewpoints, you're probably being censored. And I always feel like libertarians kind of in the middle of those in different ways. Um, Pretty censored. I think that would be an interesting poll if I would ever figure out how to do that. Is do you think your political group is being censored? And ask a bunch of libertarians how on social media if they think they are, and I guess a lot of them do. I'd say it's somewhere between 90% like Republicans and 20% like Democrats. I would say it's probably in the 60 to 70 range. Probably. Um, a lot of political groups and some of my more out there friends have even left social media because they feel they're being oppressed by the standards that will take down posts, that will ban people for having an unpopular opinion. And I have another article that talks about medical censorship. So that will be coming next. But a lot of people leave it. And I think that this shows that there is a level of corruption in social media, that they've been bought and paid for. So, I mean, the money has to come from somewhere. You're not paying for Facebook. If you're paying for Facebook, then maybe you would feel like, oh, this is why, because I don't, if I paid for it, maybe they'd like leave me the hell alone. But groups that do pay for it are usually paying for advertising. They're paying for so you can even see them. One of the things that makes me sad is without paying for huge ads, which I'm not doing this for money. If you want to, you could send me money. I would always appreciate money. Who doesn't like it? But I never expected to. I do this for fun. But if I want people to see my show, then you got to tell somebody for me, because I don't have enough money to advertise this and get the word out. And it's a lot of work. And all of us at the Freedom Revolution Network work other jobs too, and have to take care of family. And if this is my full-time gig, I probably would have people who would also help me do marketing and get money and advertisers and that sort of thing. But I just like talking to y'all. So that's the way it goes. Yes, Dave Johnson, you're absolutely right. With Facebook, you are the product. And you know what? I always think of like a big meat grinder when you say that, and like, I am the product, and it comes out looking like spam. Yeah, I'm mental. So censorship leapt into headlines this year as Twitter took the unprecedented and controversial step of labeling a tweet from the President of the United States, Donald Trump, for glorifying violence. So, when have they ever put labels on what the President of our country has ever said? Not before now. Although he does say some banana stuff sometimes, so I'm not surprised that it was him, but the fact that we live in a world where this would happen is kind of amazing and scary at the same time, that we're so into censorship, we would even censor the person that we elected to run our country. Not cool. They don't care who they censor. So, Facebook's unwillingness to remove the same language from its site led to an employee walkout and fueled direct action like a boycott during Black Lives Matter protests. Earlier this month, Facebook and Twitter removed a Trump video interview on Fox News for spreading false information about COVID-19. Now, it's still a free country, right? You can say what you think. Why do we have to protect people from bad information? Why can't we decide for ourselves that it's bad information. I think how would you even elect people? Think about this. If every time they said something stupid, it was censored. So you think you're like electing someone who knows their shit, and yet like half the stupid, horrible things that they've said have been censored to the point where you never would hear it. So you just assume they're a pretty good person. They're with the party that you appreciate. And then later you find out that all of these terrible things that they've been saying has been censored for our protection. You know, I don't need that kind of protection from anywhere. I went, my undergrad was journalism. And I think what you need to do is point out why they're stupid and let people talk about it. And word will get around that they know nothing. Now, if people choose to believe someone, that's their prerogative. Like, oh, you have to protect the dumb people. Believe me, dumb people will find a way to freaking figure out their own dumb crap. But protect the children. Oh my God. This again, why do we have to always worry about protecting the children? How did you get to be an adult? Did someone protect you your whole life? Do you think you're a better person if you were isolated from everything that was confusing or wrong in the world? I think it makes you a better person if you have someone that goes, you see that? This is why that's dumb. And then you have a conversation about it and you learn about it and you understand it. So when it happens to you again, you go, that's dumb. And I know why it's dumb. So we can't live in this world where everything's censored on social media. It's the American attitude, they say, and this is from the venturebeat.com. And it says that American attitudes at the time when many fear disinformation and misinformation on social media platforms in the months ahead are like the kind that plagued the 2016 presidential election. A Senate Intelligence Committee released a final report on 2016 election meddling Tuesday and found that Russian President Vladimir Putin personally ordered the attack. So history is always interesting after the fact. So watch out what you trust. There's a lot of reasons to not. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about this one. I don't have a lot of time, but there's one of the things with censorship that I think is interesting is that anti-vaccination group sues Facebook over censoring posts. And this is from their own, what is this from? The Hill. So it talks about the law behind the law and how it gets there. So anti-vax group sues Facebook over, let's see if I can do this right, censoring. So you see that it has little quote marks around it because they think that they're implying that it's not actually censored. There's a prominent anti-vaccination group filed a lawsuit against Facebook and fact checkers. I can hear a cat. Oh, I thought he already jumped up. For rejecting their ads and censoring their posts carried debunked misinformation on vaccines and 5G networks. This is something that we talk about all the time. That big business really wants 5G to happen. There may very well be health problems. I don't think there's probably as much as people are implying, but dang it, I'd really, really, really like to have them check and make sure that I'm not going to grow horns and do horrible, horrible things because, like, Jesus, it's our lives, it's our health. So take it seriously. However, the thing that makes me mad about this, however you feel about vaccination, I don't care. We live in a free country, and I do believe that social media is for everyone. And I have not read that there should be, when you create a social media network, it should be for everyone and different interests. And those are different interests. And they are making their own political agenda in this. And they either need to be very transparent with it and say, yeah, we don't like conservatives. So if you're not, a conservative person in any way, you should just not be on Facebook. And then at least you know. But no, they do BS kind of crap, like making sure you can't have ads, that they take it down. Let me tell you, the thing that made me the most angry was that for this show, I wanted to see if I could even get ads going, right? So to even look at that, I had to, they told me I have enough political content that I have to get my identity confirmed. So I did it. And I was like, oh, it took, like, you had to not only, like how you confirm your identity, like, sometimes on your cell phone, just make sure you are you. No, this is different. This is like, you have to have a physical address so they can mail you a postcard that has a confirmation code, and then you have to go back into the website and give the code. But if you don't do it within, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, then you have to do it all over again. It's not fair for political commentary groups. And you know what? I got it to work. And then I was like looking at it again, and they said I had to redo it. So there's something to that. Blech. Yeah, that's how I feel. So anyway, they said that this group is suing Facebook because their content, their traffic to their site went down by 95% because of the things that Facebook was doing to that group. So the House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff from California, Democrat, asked Facebook to tackle misinformation last February. CHD claims the platform is a government actor that should be barred from limiting user speech. And judges have previously dismissed other lawsuits claiming that Facebook and other social media platforms are bound by the First Amendment. Social media sites have also faced scrutiny from conservative lawmakers who claim they impose a political bias when fact-checking or labeling posts. Facebook did not immediately respond to a request for comment from The Hill, which is actually a major website. So they, one of the things that they had also mentioned is that they had made claims about vaccines by the CHD contradict the overwhelming consensus from the scientific community. However, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Some of the biggest changes in science have come from outliers where they knew they were right and they knew they were onto something, and they kept trying, and eventually they could prove that they were right. Now, if we cut out people who have outside viewpoints from our social network, from the medical professions, from everything, you're going to get a watered down society where we never make innovations, we never have creativity, and we lose. So no matter how you feel about anti-vaccination, I do feel that they are onto something with their lawsuit, and I think it'll be very interesting to see if something comes out of it. I would like to see Facebook maybe be forced to just let people have their opinions, not censor everything that people post. I think that shouldn't be as a part of their business model. If they keep doing it, I think everybody's going to leave. And that's how you vote. That's how you vote on Facebook, is by not using Facebook. So you remember the big migration from MySpace to Facebook? I've been waiting for a while because Facebook's so huge. I wonder what the next big thing is. What will it be? And I've been waiting. I feel like we're past due. And if they keep going, hey, Dave, thank you. You awesome. I'll be finishing it up soon, but I really appreciate you watching the show. I love getting to talk and hang out with everybody. So that's all I got to say about that, is that there is a lot of censorship going on Facebook, and we need to maybe start thinking about moving. I love having my show here, though. It's so easy. I know. I love it. But I can go anywhere. I am a ghost in the machine. I can do it all. So, on that note, all of the news, I only did 2 today. I had more. I had one about college contact tracing apps that actually leak personal data. So once again, terrible. Watch out for anything that leaks your privacy. And there's one that I might save for another time about how the Supreme Court dropped the ball on the right to protest, which is very timely right now with all that's going on. And I was thinking about with my revolutionary thing. I might post a link to that because it's a long read, but it's very good. And how they are missing out on protecting our rights and making sure that we have a right to get out there and say what we need to without police intervention. But I love getting to talk to you guys. We have the best time, and you make my week. One of the things I said to somebody today is we need to find things that bring us joy. And I feel like that's a very Marie Kondo kind of thing to say, but like, instead of focusing on all the bad and how the world's burning and falling apart, find one thing that makes you happy and focus the heck on it. Give all your love to something. You have a garden, put your love in your garden. You like kitties and doggies? It was like International Dog Day the other day. Kiss on that puppy. Like, do good things. Make yourself happy. This is even just a tiny bit. It adds up. Do a little bit of something for yourself every day. And then next week we'll talk again. And I'll find something else weird to talk about. So, Viva la Revolution, my friends. And I will see you next week. I'm going to try this outro that's going to like blow your mind. So, I'll see you next week, guys. I love you. Bye. Let's see if I can get it to work. Oh, I didn't get it there. Is this it? No, that's the schedule. Here it is. You're like, Heather, figure it out. Okay, I figured it out. Bye, guys.